All right, now to our segment where today, of course, being on Thursday, we tend to focus more on lifestyle. And today we want to talk about something that's, I think it's very interesting and very necessary for all of us to have, and that is a conversation on sexual health. And of course, today we'll focus a little bit more on the youth, but in couples in general. And also, today is World Condom Day. Well, if you didn't know, now you know. So, and of course, this is a day that was created by, AHF, which of course is aimed at just creating awareness out there, and of course celebrated each year on the 13th of February. And of course, tomorrow is Valentine's Day 14th. So I think it's very important for, to have such conversations as well. Today we want to focus again, like I said, on sexual health. And of course, we'll just focus a little bit more on the youth because they are the ones who get to be affected in one way or the other. And when we talk about sexual health, well, just sexual education in general, this is a conversation that most parents or the society in general tend to shy away a little bit from. But again, from the same, of course, we've heard or seen different cases of early pregnancies, teenage pregnancies, abortions as well, unsafe abortions, and of course, in some instances, early marriages. So, of course, we just want to focus on the same. And with me are two lovely ladies who I'm really excited to have with today. And of course, we have Fatma Wanjiku, who is a community activist. Karibu sana Fatma. It's so good to see you again. And of course, we also have Zam Obed, who is a parent. Good morning.
Morning.
Thank you very much for coming by today. Now, let's just start with this question from me to you, especially Zam. Today being World Condom Day, would you say it's correct, you as a parent, to introduce condoms to your child, especially the teenagers?
I can say it's not correct.
Yeah?
Yeah.
You think
It's not correct.
it's not correct?
Yes.
Why?
When I introduce condoms to my children,
Yeah.
what am I introducing them to? That is the next question.
Okay.
What are condoms for?
All right.
So when I introduce the children to condoms, what am I instilling in their minds? What morality am I giving them?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. And I'll come back to you on that. I also want to hear this from Fatma, of course. Fatma, would you give a condom to your child?
Of course not.
Why? Zam is concerned about if I give them a condom, it's like I'm giving them permission, sort of, to go out there and do the do. All right. But for you, why?
One thing I want you to understand, Winnie, is that the first teacher is a parent.
Is a parent. True.
And this is one of the things that in the society, it's like we're shying it away from it. So as much as I'm training her or him or giving him the condom, the other thing is that I'll be telling him or her, this is right.
All right.
This is what you should be doing. So without even further ado, without even if I try to bring in any other doctrine on the table, already they have given the verdict, already they have given the permission. Go my son, go my daughter, this is the way to do it.
Okay.
Yeah.
But don't you think your child is doing it anyway?
They do, of course they do.
Yeah.
And this is a problem that even in the counseling world, that it's really giving us a hard time.
Yeah.
Because you realize the concept that these children are having at a youth. No, you're not even talking about youth, for sure. The other time you saw a 9-year-old, and they were 9 or they were 9 and 10. In fact, they had even like a small baby.
Yeah.
So it's a problem that is coming in our family. It's a problem that it's there. And it's a problem that it's going to bring more havoc. As in, why is it happening? Okay. I think that's where you are heading now. Let me help you. It's because, you see, the concept that we have based, and I keep talking about, whenever you talk about mankind, whenever you talk about a human, there's always the onset, where you came from. And there's always the guide, whether religious, culture.
What are the difficult conversations that parents have? Because how do you say, like, what do you say when they ask you, where do kids come from?
No, nowadays, we are past that now.
Yeah.
We are past that now.
Okay.
And I'm talking about concept. I'm not talking about where do kids from.
Okay.
Because even now, even if you look at their curriculum in the school, it's there.
But it's very clinical.
It's there,
It's
they
very
know.
clinical, yeah.
With the much exposure that we are having, it's there, they know. They know that there is this thing.
Okay.
The XXX, it's there, it's there. You see? So the concept, I'm talking about the concept.
Okay.
So because you can understand where does a concept come from, and it comes from 4 angles. Number one, it has, for it to be there, we must have brains, of which our children has brains.
Yeah, they do have brains. Let me write it down.
And in fact, they're very much exposed.
they're very,
Even
very
more
smart.
than even us by
Yeah.
the time we're there. Number two, for the concept to take place, there has to be something like a reality. This is a
Alright.
cup, this is a pen, this is sex. You get it?
Yeah.
There has to be a reality of a matter. Number three, there has to be the senses. Of course, even the feelings are there, the instincts are there,
Yeah.
the senses. And then the fourth one, for it to now to materialize and be called a concept, we have something that is called the previous information.
Okay.
So that's where the problem that you are asking, where did it come from, how did it start? It started from the previous information
Okay.
that we are feeling with this young adult, with maybe the youth. The sex, of course, now our society is hypersexual. Everything is sexualized.
Sexual, yeah.
Even from an advertisement of a biscuit like this, it has to be a girl and a boy.
Everything has been sexualized.
Yeah.
Okay, then I totally agree with you in terms of the information that is there.
Yeah.
Children are more exposed now as
Yeah.
compared to then.
Yes.
And you will get that even as early as around 4 or 5 years, kids sort of understand and they
Yes.
talk amongst themselves.
True.
But now, going back to Zam is like me, I'm not going to give my child a condom. Absolutely not. It's like I'm giving them, the way forward. But let me give you a really shocking statistic. And they were saying, and this is a statistic that was done, by Research Plus Africa. And they were saying 7 in 10 girls aged between 15 and 19 who live in urban areas are sexually active, and many of them are not using protection. All right, so again, this is according to the study by Research Plus Africa. And of course, the study says 71% of girls in towns are more sexually active as compared to their male counterparts at 23%. Now, of course, we are in the urban setting, but of course, we're focusing in general, even and especially the girls who are really more affected as compared to the boys from the statistics. Why do you think this is the case? Because again, if we deny them, one, the info from the parents, because like you said, Fatima, parents are the first teachers, right? So if we do not give them the information, where will they get them from? They'll get the information about sex and sexual reproductive health from the internet, and most of the time, or even amongst their peers, most of the time is the wrong info. It's not the correct info. So then, and they were blaming this number for poor parenting, other concepts of poverty. There's something else to do with just lack of awareness in general. So let me just start with you as a parent. So fine. So you're saying you cannot give a child a condom, but then again, do you have some of this? Do you have these conversations and real raw conversation? Forget about the ones that we were taught when we were younger, like, oh, if you shake a boy's hand, you get pregnant. All those things. Do you talk about sex with your children?
Thank you.
Yeah. I'm putting you on the spot, but yeah.
Yeah, no problem.
Yeah.
This issue about sex, I have to talk it with my children.
All right.
And I do talk it with my children because lack of parent absenteeism really makes everything worse.
Okay.
I try my best to be there all the time. And I try to involve myself in my children's lives.
Okay.
Every day, I have to know what they did, what went wrong, what made them happy and everything, and how they feel about everything.
Yeah.
So issues of sexuality, we talk about them.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. But for most parents, this is awkward. Even for the children, even for me, like right now, I cannot just sit down with my mom and have these conversations.
Yeah.
Most people will tell you this is awkward. Like how do I just sit down with my parents and start talking about sex and this is a normal occurrence, this is a normal feeling? Because I think growing up, we were told, thinking about it, forget even talking about it, thinking about it is a sin. You do not talk about it, you do not think about it and all those things. So then when it comes to that age where, of course, they're growing, they're noticing changes in their bodies, they start feeling things that probably they don't understand, they cannot come to you as a parent and talk to you about it because they'll be like, no, this is awkward.
I think it depends on the upbringing.
Okay.
it depends on how you started from the word go. How did you start?
All right.
Because I can say a case like me, not only do I talk to my children, people bring their children
To you.
so that I
Okay.
can disclose this thing. We start from simple basics like, I am a boy, I am a girl.
Yeah.
There is where we start. And when I grow up, I want to be this. When I grow up, I want to be this. The distinctions start from there.
Yeah.
So this girl will be like, I will start asking them questions. What makes you different from the boys? And, you know, it starts from little things that people think do not matter.
Yeah.
That is where the conversation really catches the attention of these children. But you see, the problem that as parents we do, you don't know how to go about this, and you start going corners.
Yeah. Why
But
is that? Why do you think that's the problem? Is it they were never taught when they were younger?
Because
what happens?
like the same way you said, I cannot talk with my parents about sex. And for me, I got it in school when I was in standard 6.
Yeah.
That is when you started talking about changes in your body.
Yeah.
But now for our children,
It's way
the
past that.
digital world is really driving
Yeah.
us crazy because even the cartoons they watch,
Of course,
they are
they're
sexualized.
sexualized, yeah.
The cartoons. So for us, there's one thing I always tell people, that we really jumped into digitalization without checking other things. Because like in the Western world, there's parental care
Yeah.
and guardian on every gadget. But for us, we don't know how to do
Yeah.
that. And we leave the children to watch things. And for the, okay, we say sexuality, we talked about the poor, but you see also among us the well-off people.
Yeah.
They live, the house has internet, so there is a computer there, there are
Yeah.
laptops,
And
there
it's
are
not
phones.
monitored.
It's not monitored. So these children, they can have online sexual materials.
Yeah.
And the parents are too busy doing chasing life,
Yeah.
that they forget
That they
that
also
these
have-
children
yeah.
also want to learn things. And
Okay.
these things, the best teacher for them is
the
you,
parent,
the parent,
yes.
because the moment you tell your kid something, it lingers in their mind all the time.
Yeah.
But the next person will pollute this child's mind.
Yeah. So then I think the question is, when do we start introducing those conversations? Because again, like I said, when we were growing up, it was more clinical. I mean, you shake the boys' hand, you get pregnant. Do not talk to boys, you'll get pregnant. So it was made a taboo in that even interacting with the boys or vice versa, for the boys, you do not do that because you'll get pregnant. And then the whole aspect or the whole concept of, again, sex, this is seen, don't think about it, don't talk about it until you're married. So for most people, you grow up fearing the other sex, yeah, and then you also grow up fearing that word sex because you think you were told this is not a good thing, this is a very bad thing. So Fatma, then, so when do we introduce such conversations?
One of the things, Winnie, that I myself, whenever I go for teachings,
Yes.
I normally say that our parents didn't cheat us.
Okay.
That was a mechanism
They were
using.
Okay.
As far as our minds were concerned.
Yeah.
As far as maybe our exposure was concerned.
But do you think it worked really?
It really worked, yes. When did you know about it?
Okay.
So the
All
other
right.
thing is that when that was that for that moment, and
Yeah.
remember, one of the things that my friend here has said is about the parenting.
Yeah.
Because you want me to talk about sex with my child. Me, myself, as a parent, I can only give what I
What
have.
you have, it's true.
And remember, in parenting, we have two key factors, nature and nurture.
Yeah.
You get it? So nature, let's leave it alone.
Yeah.
Let's take for nurture.
Yeah.
For nurturing, I must have the information.
Oh yeah.
For me to to nurture.
nurture.
So first and foremost, this parent that we want him or her to tell them, before even we say about the time, is she or he equipped to be able to take through the way she's saying it, that you started from a very tender age with a different approach.
Yeah.
You are a boy, you are a girl, you go like this,
According
you go
to
like
what they
this.
can understand
Yeah,
at
by
that
the time, like now, our children are by 8, 9 years, already they're getting their menses.
Absolutely.
So will you wait for 10, 11 years to teach her, or do you start it by even by 6,
Before,
as early as 6? So the time, every time is ready for you to talk to your child as per the age and the understanding.
Yeah.
You get it? Because even if you tell a girl that you don't play with boys, you don't sit like this with boys,
Yeah.
you know, you are not telling him or her that boys are bad, but really when you're doing this, there's always a way to do it.
Yeah.
So the issue of that feeling, you know, and that's what it's even bringing more issues. Because we normally feel that we don't want to bring our children the way we were brought up by our parents.
Yeah.
And you know, if you look at where we are coming from, people normally kind of rebuke where we are coming from. And where we came from, the morals that were there, the show, the culture, because culture, people think an old show with those hangings and a shuka and a kiondo. No. Even here, you have your culture in this station. Culture is a formation of where you do things because you have to mitigate them. So the culture that we are going to bring in from these children from the time they are young, it will shape up them up even when they become parents.
Okay, now here's my question. Fine. Talking to them about these things is important, and it helps in one way or the other. But now the truth of the matter is, they will grow up, they will have these feelings, and most likely, more often than not, you might not be there, all right, when they are experiencing these feelings and they don't know how to handle them. So then how do you, aside from just talking to them about sex in general, you are a girl, you are a boy, this is not what you're supposed to do, this is what you're supposed to do, and all those things, again, based on the age they are and what they can understand. But then how do we prevent, because again, from the numbers, I mean, 7 out of 10 girls, they're very sexually active. And I was talking to some of them, especially in university, and they will tell you, yeah, us, we would rather use condoms, use contraceptives, you know, the morning after, the emergency pills, they would rather use that, and they abuse it as compared to being pregnant, all right? So my question is then, so after the conversations, after all those things, then what do we do to prevent, you know, cases of early sex, and then eventually, of course, because now we're not giving them condoms, we're not giving them condoms in this table, they get pregnant, you know, and all those things. So then how do we, you know, prevent these things? And then the biggest question that most of them will ask you, Fatma, is that, so when do we have sex? When is the right time to have sex? Yeah, so let me get your response on the same. What do we do to prevent cases of, you know, early pregnancies and all those things? Because they will have sex, especially when you're not there. And Fatma, I think you'll tackle that aspect of then when is the right time to have sex.
Okay. I think it's very important for parents, like my sister Fatma said, you might not have you are not equipped.
Yeah.
It is very important for parents to instill values in their children.
Okay.
It is very important. And then also the issue of spirituality. When you have values and spirituality instilled in your children, then these children, they have a motive in life.
All right.
They have a motive.
Okay.
And value and spirituality is not something you just bring from there and keep it here. This is an everyday journey.
You're right.
As you walk, you go every day. And when you, as a parent who is equipped, you walk with these children, if they have challenges about sexuality, believe you me, they will come and discuss with you.
Okay.
And you will be like, there is always, because of that spirituality.
Yeah. And I like that because, yeah, in one way or the other, it gives one guidance, all right? And people will have that knowledge of this is right and this is wrong.
Yeah.
The truth of the matter is we're natural beings, right? And again, you know, feelings of, you know, like wanting to have sex, it's innate, it's in us, all right?
Yeah.
So then what do they do? Especially when that is what they are feeling and don't know what to do. Because I like that aspect of telling them as it is. Do not sugarcoat, do not, you know, just tell them as it is. But then again, so what do they do when they are feeling? All right, that aspect of this is what I'm feeling, and yeah, what do I do? Where do I channel this energy? Because there's a lot of shame and stigma, you know, associated with the same.
Okay, before you start having sex as a teenager, and when you're having that feeling, when you start talking to the right person, and that is your parent, there are alternatives, because we are told that when you should, as teenagers, you should not be alone with a young man. You should not be alone.
Yeah.
Every time you're going for outing, as a parent, monitor. Have like your friends. Let the boys be there, the girls be there. The boys, they should know this is my sister. I have to protect her.
Okay. Okay.
Just that aspect. And for me, I still go back to values. When this boy is a honest boy, and this girl is a trustful girl, trustworthy girl, this issue, you will start seeing this girl has some values in herself. She cannot lose it. And in her upbringing, the spirituality she was given, that individual practice that she has,
She'll not go away from it.
she will not go away from that. And it will always keep her on the right track.
Okay. You know what? That is really interesting, because now, and I'm pretty sure you've seen this, where even as growing up, I know of a family who are our really good friends or family friends, and the parents are very strict and very, you know, so I can say they were raised up well, all right? And the majority of the children are actually girls. But do you know, most of them actually gave birth when they were still young, all right? Despite the fact of, you know, values, spirituality, and the parents being strict and talking to them about all those things. So I think that is why I was really insisting on then when you are feeling, because you see, as an adolescent, things are happening in your body and you have no idea what this is all about. So then what do you, or how do you channel that? So that is, I think, a debate that, you know, nature again versus nature. So then, so when do we, so when then do we start having sex?
I know, Winnie, that's what you want to hear when we start.
It's a question that so many people ask. They're like, so now you're telling us don't do it.
Yes,
so
don't
when
do
do
it.
we do
because
it?
What I'll tell you, you're not going to do it, Winnie, because you're my child, you're my daughter, you're my son. Because number one, sex, people take it to be, it's not a compromising of a leisure. It's not an entertainment tool. It's not an entertainment tool. Number two, sex, for it to be there, it has to be provoked. You must provoke it. Out of nowhere.
Provoke.
Provoking.
In this context.
In this context.
Yes.
Okay. For me as a youth, for me to think of now I want to do it, I must be exposed to something or two. Number one, either viewing. Number two, hearing. And you know, for girls,
what about
it's listening? Look, for girls, it's true you're feeling.
Yes.
But where are you coming from with this feeling?
Okay, all right.
Because you have to understand where are you coming from with these feelings. Okay, you want that? Yes, we are going to give it to you right now. And is it going to help you? Because this is not an entertainment tool.
It's not an entertainment
Number
tool.
two, what it will happen once you start it. I'm not talking about whether you should start now.
Or not.
Because number one, sex creates bond. And number two, it creates commitment. And you realize that's why we are having all these issues in our universities. You know, that's the age you're talking about, the youth. You realize somebody's hacking another one. Why do you think they're hacking one another? Because already they have involved themselves in this act without knowing that there's another part of consequences. So where the issue of when should it start? You know, as well as, you know what I would say, it's just after marriage. Because that's the time that you are ready for you two, because you cannot be two together. You'll have support of the family. You'll have support of the church or the mosque or wherever you go. You have the support of your colleagues. So it will be something that you even have a leaning, a shoulder to lean on. So if you start it at a youth, whom are you going to tell? This is what I'm going through. And then there's this thing, can we test it along the way?
Test
driving. Test driving now, this is another bring that even is bringing issue in our marriages. Because now you're like, there's somewhere I went, it was warm and tender. You get it?
Okay, then fine. Yeah, I get what you're saying. But then again, of course, we'll also talk about then the consequences later on. We touched a little bit on, unwanted pregnancies, abortions, and of course, early marriages and all those things, which again, we can also talk about then the psychological effects, and especially in marriage, because like you said, when one gets married and they have done this, for quite a while, they know how it feels. So, they'll be like, no, this one is not, it's a lot. So we'll talk about that a little bit later. But for now, in terms of fine. So it's important to talk to them about all those things and get practical a little bit, because for us it was, you remember when we were in school, there was this clip where the people will come and talk to you about, some different, diseases, STIs, STDs, and they will show us very graphic pictures, and we were really, really scared about it, and all those things. So then the question is, fine, after talking to them about, all those things and how it's important to prevent and, don't do it, don't do that, then contraception, I know this is a question that brings about a whole, Fatma is like, don't even go there. Don't
9 years, really, 9 years contraceptive.
Yeah, give a person a contraceptive. But you see, at the end of the day, I think in terms of then for the girls, I think like we said earlier on, girls are more vulnerable as compared to the boys. And this is, I think, for a very long time, we've had that aspect of saying no. A girl cannot say no and someone takes it for no. But then again, how do we teach them to even say yes in some instances where they can say yes and it's, giving consent, and in some instances it's not. Other cases of, rape and all those things, so they also come to play. It's not like, fine, they have the morals and the values and all those things, but then something happens, this person is raped. What happens, after that? So it's a lot, associated with the same. So then, aside from the parents, there's that aspect of, you can go to church and talk to your pastor, you can go to, access to contraception and all those things. Do we give them? Do we not give them? Where do they get them from? In the hospitals, some of them are actually, that aspect of stigma. That aspect of stigma to them. So then what do we do in this particular concept where, fine, someone says, I tried, I could not, and I engaged in intercourse. So then what next? Zam. What next? They will tell you it happened. I didn't know, it just happened. And so what do I do? And they come and tell you, because remember, like we said, let's develop an open door policy where they can always come to you and talk to you about anything. So in the event that it happened.
Okay, if it has already happened, you sit down and counsel this young mind.
But of course you're in shock as a parent, first of all.
You are in shock.
Yeah.
You are in shock.
Yeah.
But if you're a parent who is prepared for this world of today, as much as I am doing my best, there are accidents. There are accidents.
It's true, and you won't always be there to guard and protect your child. Yeah.
If somebody gets into an accident, you don't rebuke that person. You don't start saying, you are driving carelessly.
Yeah.
You don't know what really happened.
Yeah.
You don't know the circumstances. And human is not 100% in everything we do.
Yeah.
So if this happens, sit this young mind down, talk to them, and then have the issue of abstinence now.
Does that work in this generation? Does that really work? The concept of abstinence?
It does work.
It works.
All right.
It works. Everything depends on the approach.
Yeah.
Everything is approach. For example, if you are very sick, the way you approach your sickness makes you worse or get better.
You're right.
So, in this issue of this young girl who was engaged in a sexual activity and has regretted, it is a very good turnabout.
Yeah.
So, it's a good lesson for this girl. It's not a time you condemn, but there is a language you use that this girl will feel, I truly stepped off, and I really need to step back. And stepping back, I have been told there is this abstinence. We call it secondary virginity.
Yeah.
This abstinence, I'm going to walk this route. And from here, I will really know that, yes, I am not a virgin, but I am going to abstain from sex until I get married. And there are so many pros and cons you must discuss with this mind. You just don't go like, pa, pa, pa. These our children, you must handle them with care and caution.
You are right. And I totally agree, because there's some instances, and I've seen this, where someone actually fell off, and then, you know, like you said, it's an accident, but they came back and they realized, you know what, this is right, this is not right, and I have to do better. And they've done well, all right? Yeah. But then there's some people who, you see, they have tested, now they know how it feels, all right? There's some people who did like it the first time and they're like, no, maybe let me wait until marriage. But there's some people who probably liked it, all right? And they, much as they try to practice secondary virginity, where, you know, what you're saying is fine, I have stepped out, probably liked it or didn't like it, I'm not going back. So, you know, and I want to be celibate or preserve myself for marriage. But then again, some of them, it doesn't work for them. They're like, sort of like miss it, and they want to go back. All right. So what you're saying is sit them down, talk to them about, fine, you have done this, it hasn't worked for you, or you regret it. So this is what you do to prevent yourself from falling back. The biggest term that people use is temptation. Resist the temptation to go back and do better, which works or does not work for many people. So then, can we talk about some of the consequences, especially in marriage, or even when one is old enough to understand all those things, and to help them develop then healthy sexual relationships with their partners?
You know, I want to add to Zam. There's one thing that Winnie, you want to hear.
Okay.
That whoever started, how do we help him or her?
Yeah.
There's this issue about helping, because even if there's a place I went and one of them asked me, Fatma, you're telling me to teach my children, and then we are having somebody telling everybody, kila mtu ana yake wapi? Mfukoni. You remember the advert of the condom, and it was there at around many TV station after 7 News, and it was really hyped. So you see, this is not a war that can boil only to the family setup. Because as a society, even if you have 1 million people, we are walking towards Mombasa Road. We cannot be called a society, because that's traveling. But we can only be called a society when we have one concept, or maybe even if we don't agree, but the theme is there, that this is not supposed to be there. So if this child goes to mosque, if this child go to church, if this child go, so whoever is like running away from the feelings or feeling that's there, if she finds them, will preach the same. When she finds Winnie sitting here, even if only you take care of yourself, you see. So it's a campaign that we should campaign, all of us, to help our children. Because look here, we are not going to make it right by allowing all our, just because foreign ideas are coming, and now we want to practice them, and now we want to make them to remain in a society. What we are doing, we are breaking each morals and values of ourselves. So you see, now we are talking about a child here, about who's locked in issue of sex. And this issue, if we are to take it back and back and back, we were here discussing about polygamy, we were here discussing about the marriage. You realize that all these things, the whole setup of a marriage is really affected. So when this issue of marriage becomes affected, you know, everything has its own plan. So the plan falls down. So as the plan is falling down, that's why we're having these cracks. So the issue is, it's true, we have a lot of consequences. And we are told, whenever you start it in a wrong foot, it ends in a wrong foot. So if we say that we are going to allow them to have sex, now come in the issue of contraceptive. So are we doing it right to our children? Giving a 9-year-old contraceptive? The morning after,
no,
the effects.
We are totally against
you get it,
early, you know, like teenage, you know, sex, intercourse, all those things. Absolutely against it, because like you're saying, there's a lot of consequences, you know, that are associated with the same. But you see, the truth of the matter is, these young people are actually very sexually active, and they will tell you, most of them, some of them, I actually talk to them, and they will tell you, you know, right now, people tell you hawataki wasichana wako virgins. So then what do you do? All right. So none of them,
It's even
you know,
sad.
and even forget about the boys, even amongst the girls themselves. Like once you say you are a virgin, people look at you like, where are you normal? Is there something wrong with you? Like what's going on?
I was there
right
really
now,
for a
thing.
girl who was 35 years.
Yeah.
I was called to do something like a bridal shower
Yeah.
to go and counsel and talk to the lady. And one of the things that caught me by surprise, the ladies were full in the house, and everybody was like, what is the, even they almost poked her eyes, what is wrong with you?
Yeah.
Why didn't you? And then I was asking her, look at this lady, we should congratulate her. You get it? So I'm talking, I'll still narrow down to the concept. Winnie.
Okay.
Okay, now you say that they have started.
Yeah.
The thing is that even if we sit here, there's no way we are going to give them solution. Because if we give them solution, we open the doors even for the one in grade 1, because they'll by the grade 5, you know, I'll do it because mom told me if I do it, I can have this answer. So the best thing is that yes, already we have been defeated because this ought not to have happened from where we are coming from.
Yeah.
So if again now we allow or we open the door that we can have a discussion on how to help them, we are telling them, all of us, that now maybe we are talking about 7 to 10.
Seven girls out of 10
Out
actually
of 10.
very sexually active.
So with this kind of idea that you were heading us to,
No,
by the time we reach another 2-3 years, we are going to have 10 out of 10. So what should be our motive? Our motive is that should we even come to 6 out of 10? Because the same 6 will, the same 4 girls out of 10, they will be able to preach to the other ones and tell, okay, the feelings are there. And I'm telling you, this one, I'll tell you, take it to the bank. You cannot just say like this and say you have the instincts. No. They have to be provoked from somewhere. Another thing, even this absenteeism parents, this child, this boy will want somebody to lean to. So maybe, by the way, I love, is a boy and say, I love Winnie. Winnie is a good girl. You see, already the affection is there now. It's coming. So if there has to be a job to be done, it has to be done from all angles. And you're not going to sit here and tell them, we are going to give them the answer. Why? Because we are going to open the door for all of our children.
You're right.
We are talking about the one in university. Remember, I have another one in grade 1 and another one in PP1. So by the time they come to grade 5 and the secondary, already they know they have the answer. And very soon you'll be having even books. Showing them how to do it.
They are there.
How are we going to beat that one now? How are we going to help it now?
I get it. I get what you're saying. This is not just a one-man job. This is it's multi-sectoral, from the parents to the teachers
wherever
to
the child
whatever
let
the child
them,
goes.
let
them have the info.
Okay
then. So then, and you brought up something very interesting, which is that aspect of then staying pure until you're married. And that example of 35-year-old and they're being asked, what is your problem? And even and it's very common even amongst the girls. They'll tell you, there must be something wrong. And I think that is the thing that people say now. There must be something wrong with you. All right. And I think this tends to then push, especially the girls, because I mean they are the ones who are affected most. Even the boys, you tell them you're here, they'll tell you where you're not a man. They actually tell you that. So then, what do we do to ensure that then these ones who are with all the values and trying to keep themselves, pure until they are married, what do we do then to help them not fall into this temptation? Because everywhere you go is like, what is your problem? No, you're not normal. There's something you're missing, or, this and that and all those things. And most of this, you'll find that some of them might actually go into masturbation, and then before you know it, it becomes, they become addicted and it becomes a habit. So then what do we do to prevent them from falling?
First and foremost, they must be acknowledged that you are doing good. You are on the right path. And at this point is where their religion comes in.
You're more for religion. All right. Which is again important.
Because every community, every person has a certain belief. And that belief guides them. And if a child is keeping themselves pure, that is a child to be celebrated. Because one thing, people forget that I am living my life for me. I am not living for the masses. This influence of friends, I always tell my children, I brought you to school by myself. You will find so many friends here, but when you're coming back home, you will not come back with the friends.
Yeah.
You're coming back by yourself.
Yeah.
So these children, they should be taught that it is your individual responsibility. It is not something which is falling away. It is your individual responsibility. You are responsible for your life. You're responsible for your actions. You're responsible for your happiness. And you're responsible for your future. You can turn things around.
Yeah.
Everything is in your mind.
Okay. It doesn't
Yeah.
have to. Don't follow the
You
masses
don't
and
have
do
to
what they
follow
what
the
they're doing.
masses.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the road, everything is individualized.
Okay. All right. And time is not on our side. But then again, I liked what we're saying today. I think my takeaway message is that this is not an individual responsibility. It's for all of us. But the most important thing is have this conversation. And it's never too late to start. We have to end the show, Fatma. Yes.
Remember one thing.
10 seconds. Okay.
The child that we are talking about is already confused.
Yeah.
He's already battling a lot of issues
Yeah.
through his thoughts and emotions.
Okay.
And these are twins. Boiled together, if they are not tamed, they are going to be dangerous even for them and to ourselves as parents and to
the
society
people
as a
around
whole.
them.
Thank
I like
you.
that. I like that. Okay, so start the conversations. Talk to your children about those things.
And
Do
I
not
have
feel
one last
awkward.
thing to say.
10 seconds, Zam.
Yeah. We say that which you obtain easily,
Yeah.
you esteem very
Very
lightly.
lightly. I like that.
Yeah.
I like that. Okay. All right. So yes, the parents have spoken. So talk to your children, have these open conversations, because again, it's not an individual responsibility. It's all of us. And of course, today being World Condom Day again. The parents here are like, no, we're not giving condoms to our children. But again, just have these open conversations with your children. And of course, let's help prevent some of these vices, and especially teenage pregnancies, early marriages, and safe abortions, and of course, other psychological effects that, of course, some of children are, exposed to when they engage in early sexual activity. So we have to end it here. My name is Winnie Lubembe. Thank you so much for staying with us on New Day. We'll leave you with this very, very, very funny clip. We'll see you again tomorrow, same time, same place. God bless.